kind of mushes together. It holds some water, right?
Brianna.
And it makes a really good place for the plants to grow, right? So this soil is really, really healthy. But I wanted to bring with me some of the critters that help make the soil really healthy, and some of the ways that we could measure if the soil is healthy. So the first thing to understand is that when you plant something in the soil, what does the plant take out of the soil?
The plant take out of the soil?
Yeah, what comes out? What helps them grow? What do they take from the soil?
Don't they take like all the nutrients?
Yes, exactly. All the nutrients, right? So once we've planted in the soil, we have to have a way to add nutrients back to the soil, right? So sometimes we rely on bugs. So I brought a couple of my bugs with me. And these are my favorite bugs. So in this one, what do we have?
Oh, an insect.
An insect. What kind of insect? It's a cockroach, right? So this is a cockroach, and in here I have worms. They're called red wiggler worms. And both of these insects or bugs are actually really important for the earth. They are what's called decomposers. And a decomposer is a type of species, an animal or an insect, or really anything, a microbe, that consumes old waste stuff that people don't want, and they turn it back into soil. So, you can see in here, what do I have in this bucket? I have worms. What else?
Oh, broccoli.
Broccoli. Anything else?
I used to hold
A little bit of lettuce.
Oh yeah.
Some newspaper, right? And some dirt. Now the dirt that's in here is actually really important. So this is called vermicompost. Do you guys know what compost is?
Yeah.
Do you want to explain it?
Isn't it when you like have this type of machine and like you put things that you don't need anymore?
And then it turns it into what?
Like soil.
Soil, yeah. So we actually don't need a machine. We use the worms. So we put our old yucky food that we don't want anymore in here, and the worms turn it into new, fresh compost for us that we can add back to the soil to make it healthier. Do you know how do you think they turn it? So then we don't have to throw it in the garbage. We can put our food in here instead of garbage, and then we make new soil with it, new compost. Exactly, right? So how do you think the worms turn my old food into compost? They eat it. Awesome. So they eat it, and then what happens? Where does the soil come from?
Oh,
From the plant, but where does it come from? From the worm. They eat it, goes in their tummy. How does it come out? Their butt. They go to the bathroom. So compost is actually worm poop. And worm poop is really, really good for the soil. It takes really nutrient-rich soil and it adds it right back. So if I was to put this finished compost onto our soil, it can make it healthier.
Wait, you
Those are
touch that?
Yes, I do touch that. Did I touch that? So first, do you want to touch some of the worms that are working on this? Yeah? Okay, so in here, it's a special type of worm. It's called a red wiggler worm. And the worms are busy eating. You first. You ready? I got you a little baby. Alright. Yeah, so it's a small worm. They come in all different sizes. I have the bigger
I
ones
used to
too.
hold that one, like, stop. I used to hold
Another one?
those. I used
So
to
what you
hold
can
those.
see the dots?
Right?
No bite. No.
I used to hold those like all the time when I was little.
So yours, if you flip it over, see the tummy? See how there's little black dots?
Yeah.
When it moves, that's the food that it's eaten and it's digesting, and you could actually see it moving through the worm, and then it's going to come out and it's going to be added to the compost. I did. I had to get used to it. You'll see, they're very nice. Alright, so those are the worms that are in here, and they're working on eating my old food. You want to get a worm? So these types of worms are special worms, but you can find, where can you find worms? Yeah, right? The worms are living in here all the time. Now the worms do another important job. When they move through the soil, they make little holes. And those little holes also help the plants to grow. It helps them allow them to get their roots down in.
I remember I used to, when I was like 4 years old, up to like 7, I used to like find them and just hold them.
Yeah, see, they're friendly, they're nice, right? They're a little slimy.
With that,
This one maybe not. Oh, we'll see. I believe in you. I think you might be able to do it. Yeah, if he wants to.
Come on.
You want to hold the rope? All right, so we'll put our worms back. Let them finish their job.
Did that bite?
Do those bite me? Okay, so I'll leave it in here while I talk so you can look
I
at it.
think that one of the worms
Sometimes I do. So, the next one we have here, what is that?
I want the difference.
It's a cockroach, right? So the cockroach is also a decomposer. They eat gross dead stuff that we don't want. They go to the bathroom, like the worms. And what comes out when they go to the bathroom then? Poop. Well, what's their poop?
The soil.
Soil, the nice fresh soil, right? So these guys do the same thing of their poop. Doesn't smell like poop, right?
Yes.
I'll show it to you first.
It's not gonna bite.
It's not gonna bite.
It doesn't bite.
See it?
Oh my gosh.
That's the cockroach. Do you want to touch it first? There you go. He's smooth and soft, right?
Wait,
Not
I'm gonna
slimy.
take a photo of him.
So it's gonna tickle your hand. It'll feel like this. Okay? You ready?
He don't bite.
You won't bite. What do you think? Want to try it? Okay, ready?
But I'm gonna look at my mama.
It tickles. Those are her legs.
Is it a her or?
This is a him, actually. So you can see that he has these little horns on his head. The ones with the horns are the boys. He's pushing you. What do you think? Tickles, right?
Yeah.
All right. Pretty cool, right? No? All right, so these are our decomposers.
Are you gonna hold it?
Yeah, no.
They're so good. They don't even
What
bite.
about you touch it with one finger? No?
I'm gonna talk.
I have like phobia. So like not worms. I love worms. I can hold them like a ton in the same hand. And
Yeah.
So like the
For the soil. So I brought 3 things with me. And a little bit of instructions for you guys. So the way we do have snakes.
Mask. Thank you.
They don't bite. We can bring snakes. All right, so ready? So the first thing we have, this is called a moisture meter. And where do you think I'm going to put it? In the soil, right? So I put it in the soil. And right now it says dry because it's just in the air. But if I put it down, did it change? What's it saying? It's in the green, right?
Yeah.
So it means that it's moist. And in here, it tells you what green means. Green means slightly moist, good for most plants, veggies, flowers, herbs, and houseplants. So do you think we want it in the green here?
Yeah.
Yes, because that's what we're planting here. Now, in some of the areas, we've planted some herbs, so we actually want it to be a little more dry. Like we have lavender, and they like drier soil. So with the lavender, when we put our moisture meter in, we actually want it to be red. We want it to be dry.
in the black you could put like anything.
So in the green, you could put any plant. That comes from there. Yeah. Okay, so when we're in green for our veggies, that's good. Now this one is a pH tester. So do you know what pH is? Do you know what acid is?
Oh, yes, acid.
Acids, right? So acid is something
Acid.
strong, but you don't want your soil to be too acidic because what do you think it will do to the plants if there's too much acid in there? It will ruin them, right? It will kill the roots. So we don't want it too acid, so we'll put our meter in here. And what's it telling us?
It's like red.
It's a little bit red, so it's at about 6.5, 7, which for this soil is actually perfectly fine. If we had acidic like 3, then we would have too much acid. And what do you think that's going to tell us?
The temperature.
Temperature. This tells us the temperature of the soil, so you can put that in. There you go, perfect. So this tells us, what is it saying? It's going down a little bit. Do you think it's colder or hotter underneath the ground? Colder, right?
Colder.
Yeah, so the further down we push this, the colder it's going to get on our meter here. So right now it's saying that our soil is about 66 degrees. Now the more important time when we want to read the soil is actually when we're making compost. So I actually measure the temperature of the soil that's in here with my worms. Because I need to make sure it gets hot enough so that it can break down different food and bacteria. When we're measuring temperature of soil here, it can help to tell us what kind of plants we can plant in a certain season. So knowing the temperature of the soil is important, but more importantly, knowing the pH and the moisture is the most important part. So do you think soil is healthier if it could hold more moisture? Yes.
Yes.
Are we gonna plant?
Are we gonna plant? We are gonna plant.
Yay!
All right, so those are our 3 ways that I brought for you guys to test the soil. So we know our soil is healthy and good to go. So we are gonna pull out the rest of our grass here. And then today we're gonna plant some seeds because these are some seeds that hopefully will have enough time to grow before it gets too cold. We're doing spinach, we're doing turnips, and radish. Have you ever had radish before?
No.
Have you ever had turnip?
Can you bring for rations?
Can we bring it for what?
Raspberry.
Raspberries. Raspberries we'll have to do in the spring. Right now, mostly we just have lettuces. Have you ever had spinach? Yeah, so we're gonna grow some spinach too. And
Wait, are
hopefully
we
it'll
gonna
be good.
put that insect in the ground?
No, we're not. We're gonna, I'll keep the insects for myself. All right, and the other thing we did was, remember we brought your tomatoes and they were green last week, and now how are they? They're red. They're almost ready to go, right?
I have more.
And there's even more. So we can harvest those and we can add them to your tomatoes. Yes.
Should we just pick them all?
Yeah, just the red ones for now.
Oh, the red one?
Yeah.
I found the red one.
Perfect. So we'll harvest those and then you guys can bring those home with you.
This one is a red one.
That's okay. I think you can still eat it. You just have to clean it. And even these ones you could take the little orange ones.
I don't know how you're not scared to grab that.
I had some training. I was scared in the beginning.
Oh my god, this is like...
I have phobia to like insects, except worms and spiders.
Which is common. A lot of people are scared of insects. They're a little
It's
freaky.
white. Oh, I get it.
That's okay. Bring it with you and it will turn red.
Mom ate all the tomatoes.
Oh, yes.
She ate them? Did she like them?
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Good job. You got all the roots out. That's what we want to do. So we want to try to get the roots out, but we want to try to not disturb the soil too much.
Oh, to like take all the shit out?
Yeah, so we don't want to take too much of the soil.
Oh,
That's okay. So what you can do is you can kind of shake it off, because this is good soil.
Wait, Matthias. What animal can touch I want to touch a snake because like, I'm old.
You want to do a snake? I could bring a snake one day.
yes. Hey,
Yeah?
I want a bunny.
A bunny?
And a
Okay.
bear.
The bear will have to work on. And I don't have a cat. But you know what I do have? I have a ferret. And ferrets are kind of similar to cats. They act like cats. I like to play. You have a cat? So do you get to see your precious cat? And
My
watch.
fish
What do you think? Oh, your fish died. Do you think I could bring a fish?
No, the other one can fill up.
I have to fill with water, right?
You have to bring like something that holds back.
Yeah, that will hold.
Those are the golden
Yeah, that's a roly-poly. That's good. You like them. Or is it a grub? Where is it? Oh, it's a roly-poly. I
Oh
see it.
my.
I just feel
Scared of insects.
Oh.
Oh, what's this?
That's a rock. We could use that for our border.
Oh, look at this.
We were about to like adopt a bunny,
Oh.
but then like it was kind of hard with bunnies,
Oh,
so we just got a cat.
Yeah, cats are a little bit easier and a lot less stinky. Sometimes bunnies are a little stinky.
And we couldn't get a dog though.
Dogs are a lot of care for dogs.
you have to keep him walking. You have to let him go outside to do
Yes.
to go to the bathroom.
There's a lot, right? You have to feed them.
When I have my own house,
So once we get all the roots out, we're gonna try to move the or any really big rocks because we don't want any huge rocks. Yeah, that's a good one.
I was eating a hole when I was at his house because there's a lot of like grass.
You got soil in your eye? Okay.
That's what I came to do.
You can turn it into a garden, but make sure you ask first. Don't just start ripping out the grass. You do?
He does rip the grass.
But now you guys can come to this garden whenever you want. Right?
Whenever you want.
For it.
This is our garden and yours garden?
Yeah, it's all of our gardens. All of us.
I like the plant.
I love the plants. Did you guys notice that a lot of them started getting flowers? And look who brought all the flowers. The bees love it. And that's good, right? Because we love our pollinators. Yeah, you guys put up every time we're here, huh? Yeah. Got a little one on his hand.
My dad has something from the edge of the river with a spider and his eye little.
Oh, yeah, it's swelled up. Yeah, sometimes spider bites are pretty bad. Alright, what do we think? How are we doing? Alright, so the next thing we want to do is we want to put down our layer of fresh soil that we have.
Do we get the shovel?
We have no shovels. We got hands. Because when we plant seeds, they're not going to go very deep. So we're just going to use our finger and we're just going to do a little hole like that. And that's perfect for the seeds. But first, let's add some of our fresh soil and we're going to spread it around. Alright, ready?
Send that to Louisa.
Alright, so we got to spread it around.
But this
All
one
of it.
doesn't have insects, right?
No insects.
Look in that container. There's a giant thing this big. Yeah.
Oh, maybe not washable.
Mine got all wet.
Your cracks, your fur
Yeah,
ones.
like the fur ones. And then, but it wasn't here, it was like somewhere. And then, it was like,
When we're planting seeds, it depends on the type of seed. This one has 100 seeds, this one has 250, 250, and 250. So, whenever you get a seed packet, usually the seed packet tells you when to plant it, how best to plant it, and how far you can plant it from other plants. So it's always good to read it, but all of these ones that we picked so far tell us that we can sow them, and when it says sow, that means just put it in the ground until the first frost. So have we had a frost yet? Frost. So think about when you wake up in the morning and there looks like there's snow on the ground.
oh.
That's frost. So have we had any of that yet? No. So we can plant all these, which is cool. So the way that we're going to do it is very far under the ground. So here's how we usually like to do it. It's better to do it in rows. So we have 4 different things we're going to plant. So we're going to make 4 different rows. And the way that I usually do it is I take one finger and then I go like this, or 2 fingers. Like that. Right? So this is where we're going to put our seeds and then we're just going to cover them right back up. Alright. So, do you want to make our next row? You could start it right here.
Oh, right here, like from down there?
Mm-hmm. So this radish seed says 3/4 of an inch. So usually a good way to tell, like your thumb is usually about an inch. So if you go like this, that's about an inch of a hole that you made. So this is going to be perfect for these radish seeds. Have you guys eaten a radish before? It's kind of like a spicy, it's spicy and it has the texture of a carrot, but it's a little circle. So you've had it before? I didn't like it when I was your age, but then as I got older I did. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. do is I'll pour them right in your hand like this. And what we're gonna end up doing is we're gonna thin it. So even if you don't, so you could just kind of sprinkle them right along it. And whichever ones come up, if we have too many, we'll pull them out, we'll thin them. So you can kind of just sprinkle them right through, yeah? Try eating dirt. So you're gonna do the other side, you ready? To see how your cousin did it? Just like that, you're gonna do over there. Right there. Yes, so then we're gonna do another. Good job.
Oh,
Here we go. Ready? Perfect. And you're gonna spread it in the next way. Alright, so those are gonna go right here, buddy. Perfect, and then cover it up like you did the other ones. Give it a good pat. Alright, so now we got 2 more rows that we can do. So we're gonna do a row here, and then a row here. If you can use your finger again. You didn't try one? Go for it. You want to do this one starting here? Right over here. See where my finger is? There. Perfect. There you go. That's it. And that's perfect actually because this one only says to cut it 1/4 inch down. So that's not very far down. So you don't want to cover it too much. Whoop, that's okay. Alright, so we have our radishes that are going to go here, and we have our turnip. Has anyone ever had a turnip? I actually don't think I've ever used it. That's what it looks like, without the face. Alright, we ready? Okay, see how tiny these turnip seeds are?
Oh,
They're like little pebbles. So you won't even really see them going. Yeah, it's everything tiny. So this one is only a 1/2 inch down, so we're going to push a little bit of the dirt back. So that's not too deep. So you can do that. I would do about half. Alright, ready, buddy? These are your last seeds. Your watermelon radish. So you're going to sprinkle them like you did the other one. You got to spread it out really good. All the way across. Need to give you more for this side?
definitely. Should I get more?
Did you get, how far did you get?
Like up to here.
Okay, so do a little bit more. Here you go, buddy. Ready? Alright, so the rest of the seeds you're going to put back here. Perfect. Alright, what's our last step after we've planted something? Water. Good. So we gotta go get our watering can, and then we're gonna water.
It's not very.
The compost?
So
Yep.
in the bottom here, that's basically finished compost. So it's food that they've eaten and then pooped out, and then that's the compost that we can then add to our soil. Yep. We can hold on to. You like Sue? Shake a little back.